Welcome to the In Love with PMDD podcast. I am your host, Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist, and I help you stop the monthly PMDD breakups. PMDD is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It is in approximately 1 in 5 women, and it makes you want to break up with your partner approximately 1 to 2 weeks before your period every single month. So as someone who has suffered with PMDD for over 18 years, I dedicated my doctorate practice to helping partners navigate those monthly PMDD breakups with everything from attachment styles, triggers, sensitivity to noise, sensitivity to touch, all of the things that you really struggle with when you're in PMDD. And I also dedicated my dissertation to a phenomenological study of the relationship experiences of partners of individuals who suffer with premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So I'm not just here to help the sufferer, the one who is suffering with PMDD. I am here for the partners as well. So if you need those private sessions, make sure you go to inlovewithpmdd.com and get those tools. So let's get into this week's PMDD trauma transformational tools that is going to help you stop the monthly breakups and stop the suffering and stress in your PMDD relationship. Let's get into it. Today, we are going to be asking that important question of, is your PMDD partner controlling? So I know so many times we may feel like our PMDD partner is controlling when we go into PMDD, maybe because they're having you do things that you feel like you can't do, or you're feeling controlled in your emotions because your partner is requiring more of you than you can actually give, and you feel this burden of having to show up a certain way. And so what I'm going to talk to you about today is not about, is my PMDD partner controlling, as in my PMDD partner. I noticed that I was the one who was controlling or is controlling, working on it, right? Transparency. I don't think I noticed how controlling I became with my PMDD partner until the last couple of conflicts that we had. And I told you I have sessions with my PMDD partner every single week, just like I do with my private clients. And one of the things that he said, he was like, you're so controlling. And I really didn't understand. I thought it was like one of those mean things that your partner says out of anger, but they don't really mean it, right? Because a lot of times, your partner will say things, and I always say, ask your partner when they're calmed down, do they really mean the things that they're saying when they're in PMDD, or is it just said out of anger, bitterness, resentment, all of the things? But he was completely calmed down, and he was like, yeah, you're controlling. And that was a trigger for me because I value freedom. I value people having autonomy, people being able to do what it is that they want to do when they want to do it, because I grew up in a very controlled environment, a very abusive environment. And maybe that's where some of this stems from. But I noticed that he only called me controlling when I was in PMDD. Meaning he was saying that I wasn't controlling when I wasn't in PMDD. So I was like, okay, so is this one of the things that's a character flaw in me, or is this a PMDD thing? And that's when I realized, okay, this has to do with PMDD. But the problem is I don't notice when I'm being controlling while I'm in PMDD. Now that he's brought it to my attention and he's brought up some examples and I've been able to look back, I'm like, yeah, that was pretty controlling. And it didn't feel good for me. And I think that's the first thing that I want to let you know, is that being controlling, feeling the need to control everything your partner says or does, how they feel, how they act, what they say, how they support you, it is exhausting. And I didn't realize that I was exhausting myself by going down this rabbit hole of trying to ensure that my PMDD partner supported me in a way that I thought it should look like, right? So I had this list of things in my mind that a supportive PMDD partner is supposed to do, should do. And my PMDD partner was not looking like a reflection of that. And instead of me accepting it and saying, well, maybe it just looks different, with him, I was trying to create an environment where I could, I wasn't forcing him, but I was trying to create an environment where I can leave the door open for him to do it. But it was in such a controlling way that it was like overkill. And he felt like he was walking on eggshells because every little thing that he was doing, I was criticizing. And it was, in a way, for me, I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was getting ahead of it, getting on top of it. Like, I need to make sure that these things happen. And the biggest control factor normally came when it was time for him to come for a visit, because we're long distance, we live apart, not that far apart, like an hour plane ride, but we've done this for a while due to work. And so when he would come, I have a routine when he's not home, right? And so what I've noticed is when he comes home and the routine is interrupted, it's interrupted in a way that is very triggering for me only when I'm in PMDD. If I'm not in PMDD, I'll notice the kind of like how things feel differently or what he does or says that's triggering, but it doesn't really put me into PMDD rage, or it irritates me, but it's not overbearing. In my mind, it is what I would assume a normal couple would be experiencing if they had like little quirks about them, right? That's how I look at the things that he does when I'm in my good days. I'm like, oh, that's annoying, but whatever. Or some of the things it's like, oh, that's annoying, but that's kind of cute, One of the things is obviously the snoring. I'm not going to like beat a dead horse, because I feel like every episode you hear about my partner snoring, like it's annoying. Yeah, it's not that. But some of the things that he would do when he's home is kind of like during my morning routine, I'm used to having like quiet time. Normally, my daughter is, occupying herself. She has her own routine. So it's just me, our daughter, and the dog in the house normally. So I have that quiet time. Well, when he comes home, he likes to talk in the morning. Like first thing in the morning, he wants to connect and talk about the day. And he's always asking me like, he was like, what is your plan for the day? He wants me to have like a whole to-do list. And I don't really have that in the morning, because I base my day off of not just my responsibilities, but I see how I feel after my morning routine. So I know what I'm capable of doing. Some days in PMDD, I may plan on doing a whole bunch of things and none of them will get done. So I can't really say what my plan is for the day until like I finish with my morning routine. And I don't want to talk. Like I'm one of those people, and I don't know, I didn't used to be this way. Like sorry, I'm moving. I didn't used to feel this way about talking, I'm assuming, but because it's never been brought up, or either that, or it just really bothers my PMDD partner. So it's like I'm made very aware of it, but I like to have quiet time in the morning to just get my thoughts together so that I can accurately portray myself in a way that I'm not going to regret later on. And when I'm doing that, I don't like to be interrupted, but I found myself in the middle of doing my morning routine, whether it's exercising or reading or something, and my partner's trying to like talk to me. It's almost like he's talking in the background, or he'll see, like one time, because I have a sauna in my garage that I sit in, my hot box, and he was like literally standing outside of the sauna, like talking to me. And it's literally a sauna, like the door's closed, it's insulated. I had headphones on. I took like one ear of my headphone off, and he was like, hey babe, blah, blah, blah. And he was asking me about this. And I was just like, what? Like, is this happening? Like, is this real? Are you talking to me right now? Like, I'm like, you see me in the sun. Like in my mind, earlier in our journey, I used to say, like, because I work out at home, I used to say, if I worked out at the gym, would you like come inside the workout room and ask me like where the can of cheese is, or not can of cheese, but where the block of cheese is? Like in my mind, it's like, respect the space, because I do a lot of things at home that I could do outside of the home, but I enjoy doing them at home because I'm here with our daughter and it's just more convenient and all of the things. But yeah, so I noticed the things that triggered me when I am in PMDD and he is home. And so I felt the need to create what I was calling boundaries around all of these things that happened during the day that were triggering me. I was putting up these boundaries like, nope, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. And so I think one or two boundaries is completely fine, but I had like, I would say like 8, 9, 10 boundaries in the course of a day. So the way he was describing it was like, I can't do anything. I can only talk to you after this time, because I had put up a boundary. After I got triggered that many times, I was like, listen, I can't talk to you until I'm finished with my morning routine. I don't mean by saying good morning or, acknowledging his presence, but I was pretty much like, I can't have these deep thought out conversations in the morning because I don't have it in me. Like, I need to get myself together, rewire my brain. A lot of times the PMDD tools that I'm teaching you and I teach my private clients, I use those in the morning because I wake up in PMDD and things are so horrible. And I'm just trying to rewire my PMDD brain so that I don't say or do something that I regret later on. So I need that time. So I put up that barrier. That was the first one. It was like, hey, I can't talk to you in the morning. And then that went on for a little bit. And then I thought about midday. Okay, midday, when I have work and stuff, it's kind of like I had an issue with the fact that my PMDD partner doesn't necessarily have a hobby. It really started to bother me that he didn't have anything to do while I was doing my work, meaning he works, but when he's off work, I am his hobby. And that seemed like too much pressure for me. It was always like, what are we going to do today? Or what's going on? And I'm like, and I felt like if I didn't provide an activity to do, then like he was just going to be sitting there waiting. And it felt like so much pressure. So I put in another boundary that was kind of like, you need to self-soothe and figure out what you're going to do for the day that doesn't include me. Right. Because I want that if I'm, working, that it takes me a little bit longer, that I don't feel guilty because you're sitting there waiting. And I don't, so that was another boundary I put up. I'm like, I can't be responsible for all of your extracurricular activities, because he doesn't watch TV either. So it's kind of like he's on the go person. He's an outdoor person. So he's normally used to being outdoors. He's very extroverted, loves people around, all of the things. And I believe I'm a ambivert, which is a mixture of an introvert and an extrovert. Like, I love my own company. I can be alone for weeks at a time and not feel alone, not feel lonely. Like, I'll be completely fine. And I enjoy socializing. I enjoy connecting with people in like a real way, and, just connecting like authentically. So I don't not like people. I'm not like a hermit, but I do enjoy my time. And if I go long periods of time without talking to people, like, that's fine. Also, I went on a journey, right? I did, during the 2 years that I was single before I met my PMDD partner, I did something called Vipassana meditation, which is it's like a vow of silence. I didn't know that was a thing outside of the monasteries with the monks, but I was really into meditation. I was in a journey of healing after my ex and like all the things, he put me through. Have you ever gone through that time frame of like, you go through a really bad breakup and you go on this journey of like, give me all the tools for all the healing. Like, I'm going to start this new life that's going to provide me with peace, because I was so broken. And so my heart was literally broken. And I felt like I needed to go on this journey of just mending myself from the inside. So I went on a very like spiritual journey. And during that time, you know what? Now that I think about it, before that time, I didn't like being alone. I always wanted to be with my partner. And I did, I had an anxious attachment style before my current partner, because I would feel the separation. So that's why I know what my partner's going through, because I used to be like that. But I remember going through that journey of being alone and being like, I never want to go back to being like that. Like, I never want to be so connected to someone to where if something's going on with them, like, I can't breathe. I was literally I was that person that if anything was wrong in my relationship, my health would fail. Like, I would feel sick, like literally sick to my stomach. I had really bad anxiety. My PMDD was way worse. If we argued, like, oh my goodness, my whole life fell apart. I couldn't like study. I couldn't finish any assignments. I was like anxiously waiting for my phone to ring. I was a over texter, like all of the things that really, really anxious attachment style. I had that. And I remember coming out of that and being like, I never want to be like that again, because it didn't feel good to me. It felt like my livelihood, literally my survival was tied to my partner that I had in the past. And I was like, I don't want to have that kind of attachment to anyone. I want to have like an interdependence where I enjoy your company. I love your company. But if I don't have it, I'm still good. Like I enjoy I appreciate your opinion. I value what you're saying, but if it doesn't align with what feels good to me, then I'm probably not going to take that advice. Like that's where I am right now. And it took me that 2 years. So I'm not saying it's going to take you 2 years, but I just remember my before and after came after that. And I see so much of myself in him when he gets in those spaces. So I try my best to accommodate, but I put another boundary up, during that time. And I'm like, listen, you find something to do. And then when I'm done with the work, then we can do something together and stuff like that. So that was another boundary for like midday. So remember, we have the boundary in the morning, can't talk until afterwards. And my morning routine, I would say lasts about 90 minutes. Trust me, if I'm by myself, it could be 2 hours because I'll just extend it because I love it so much. So, and it's not exercising for 2 hours. It's reading, it's praying, it's meditating, it's just being alone sometimes, it's dancing, it is whatever I feel like doing. It's like my time. And that's why I wake up so early in the morning to do it. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see some mornings I'm up before the sun and I'm doing my videos, I'm vlogging with you, and it's like pitch black dark outside. It's because I would rather sacrifice, 2 hours of sleep if I can get those 2 hours back in the morning to kind of like rejuvenate myself, get my mind right, all the things. So I put up the second boundary. And then when it came to evening time, there was a boundary around, the snoring, like, okay, if you snore, you got to sleep in a separate room. But I don't know. I started sleeping in the separate room because I'm a night owl. So I wouldn't go to sleep until like I get a lot of my work done, a lot of my studying done, a lot of my reading in the evenings. And he goes to sleep really early. When I say early, I mean 7 or 8 o'clock. He is like done for the day, like done, because he wakes up like 3:34 in the morning. So I set up a boundary for that. And I was kind of like, I just want to have this time in the evenings. If I need my sleep, but if you decide to snore, or not decide, but if you snore, then I'm going to go into the other bedroom and I'm going to because I need to get some sleep, because otherwise I sit in the bed and I like lay there and suffer through it. And then I end up bitter and resentful in the morning, and it makes our day horrible. So I had little things like that. When we went on vacation, I was like, we now need to get an Airbnb. We can no longer go as a family in a hotel because you snore. And also our daughter's a teenager. She needs her own space. So that was part of what he was considering controlling. Like a lot of the things that I thought were things that were just ensuring that we had a good time was actually putting him in a box to where he felt like he couldn't do anything. Because he was like, you're controlling this and you're controlling that. And I was like, yeah, if someone did that to me, if someone told me out of the course of a day, like I need to act like this, during this time, then I probably would also feel controlled. So today, this is just an example of what goes on in my home. Of some of the ways that I'm being controlling. And I had to admit it. I had to be honest with myself. Sometimes when your PMDD partner accuses you of something, or not even accuses you, says that you're a certain way, the thing about it is you have to be open to receiving that criticism. If it's something that is damaging your relationship, you really need to, instead of getting offended, because I could have, but I was in my follicular days, my good days, when he told me, thank goodness, because I kind of took it and I was like, wow, really? And I was like, tell me more. Whereas if I was on PMDD, maybe I would have either shut down or got a little offended or tried to defend myself. No, that's what I would have done. I would have absolutely tried to defend myself about why I'm not controlling. I would have controlled the conversation about me not being controlling, which would prove that I was controlling. So that's what I would have done if I was in PMDD. But because I was in my good days, I was like, wow, that makes sense. I do that. And then I was like, well, what do I do with this? Like, what do I do knowing that I'm controlling? And I that's like horrible. I would never tell someone to be in a relationship where they feel controlled. So then how does it work if I'm the controller? I'm like, man, this is harsh, when you take that look in the mirror. So what I want to tell you is that sometimes you can have qualities that are damaging your PMDD relationship. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you're with the wrong PMDD partner, but it does mean that you need to do something about it. And I had to use these tools, and I want to give them to you today, because if you're seeing yourself in my situation and even the slightest bit, here's the thing, my PMDD partner had the courage to tell me that I was being controlling. And I could tell that he was even walking on eggshells with saying it. And he was very shocked that I received it as well as I did, because he was expecting me to deny it. He was expecting me to not only just deny it, he was just expecting me to be mad at him and get defensive and do all these things. So when I said, tell me more, he was very shocked. Like, basically he was thinking that I was playing with him when he said, tell me more. But I just got to a point where I'm like, I just need to be honest. And I was like, okay, I'm the one that's being controlling. I don't want this behavior to affect our relationship, because I know what it feels like to be controlled. Because like I said, I had that childhood trauma of being in a very strict home and having all these, strong emotions and feeling like I couldn't express them, like my word didn't matter. And I want to ask you, if you're seeing any of that in yourself today, do not worry. I have the tools for you. I have what you can do for your PMDD partner. And I'm going to also provide something else for you at the end, because this is a process to get yourself out of this, right? And so ask yourself, if you listen to me and you're like, yeah, I do some of those things, or I kind of control my PMDD partner's behavior, I want you to ask yourself, is your controlling behavior, is it sabotaging your relationship? Like, maybe your partner tells you that they need more space, or they want to do their things like their way. They don't want to do things the way you have it mapped out. And then maybe you notice that you stop them from doing the things that they really want to do, right? You constantly tell them, no, you can't do it that way. We need to do it this way. And you kind of feel like you know best. So that's the part that really gets you when you're coming to terms with being controlling, is because you don't think it's a bad thing, because you know that it's like, you think it's the right decision for you all to make. So then you feel justified in being controlling. You're like, no, if we do things this way, it's going to be way better. So I'm justified. So I should be controlling. Or you could feel like, if you do not control the situation, then everything is going to fall apart. That's when you're holding on so tight and you feel the need to control, because you don't feel like your PMDD partner is capable of controlling the situation themselves. If you have a lack of confidence in your PMDD partner, then it is going to be very easy for you to fall into this realm of being controlling, because you're not going to have confidence that they can handle it. And this is a sign. If you find yourself being really controlling, it's because you don't trust your PMDD partner. Instead of going to them and deciding together, this is, hey, do you think we should do this? So there's a difference between telling your PMDD partner, we're going to do things this way, versus asking their opinion. Like, I'm thinking of doing this way. What do you think? Like, that was a conversation that I had to reframe everything that I was bringing to my PMDD partner. For example, our daughter is homeschooled in high school, and I was thinking about putting her into public school, and we're in a really good neighborhood. So I'm like, before it was, safe and better for her to be in homeschool, but now I'm opening up the opportunity if maybe she can go to, public school. And I brought it to him, and normally I would be like, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. I'm just letting you know. But I said, I'm thinking this. What do you think? And just asking that question in itself, it gives your PMDD partner that sense that they're not being controlled. It is a partnership. You're not just telling them what to do and how to do it. And you'll actually find yourself being closer to them, because you actually had the, conversation, like, because you made the decision together. And then when you go into PMDD, they're going to be way more supportive, because they're not going to be feeling like they're walking on eggshells and there's things that they can do and that they can't do and all of these things. So also, when you're in PMDD, having controlling behavior is a sign of your anxiety coming out and it damaging your interaction with your PMDD partner. So if you're trying to dominate your PMDD partner, it's a sign of insecurity as well. There's something within you that feels the need to control, but you need to learn to recognize and self-soothe your own anxieties so that you can be vulnerable and you can treat your partner as a partner. If you have really bad anxiety and you're like, we got to do this, we're rushing, we got to do it, that's a horrible, on the other person, it's a horrible feeling to feel like everything's, I'm just hanging on by your coattail. You're dragging me all over the place. You're telling me that it has to be done this way. And if it's not done that way, then I have a meltdown. Then I go off on PMDD rage. Then I shut down. I shut down communication with you. I start stonewalling you. I shut down affection. I'm no longer going to act like I'm connected to you because all of a sudden, you're not doing what it is that I want you to do. That's a form of controlling. If you begin to withhold love, affection, attention, validation towards your PMDD partner because they're not doing what it is that you want them to do, how you want them to do it, and it doesn't look like what you think it should look like, that's a form of control. That is also a form of abuse. The stonewalling, the shutting down and not giving them the love and attention and affection. There's an episode on that that I've already recorded, but I want to let you know controlling is right up there. It's not okay. And that's why I said I needed to change something. I need to do something different because it's not, I wouldn't want anyone to do that to me. And I know that it genuinely hurts your PMDD partner to be controlled in this way. It's not just like, oh, they don't like it. It hurts them. It hurts my PMDD partner when I was saying, I don't want to connect with you in the morning. You can't come to me and hug me. You can't do all these things because I have this going on. It's a very selfish tendency that you can have. And I already told you, I admitted along with the controlling part, I can be very selfish when I get into PMDD, where I only see my needs and what I need and whatever I have left after that is for my partner. That's a PMDD thing because I feel like I need to use all the tools. I'm taking all this energy and I don't see it as being selfish, but my PMDD partner sees it as being selfish in a sense that my attention needs to be shared in some spaces. And it's not always convenient for me, but I'm also not single, right? So when you're single, you have the luxury. I'm not even going to tell you. Well, I'm going to tell you, but I don't want you to break up. So like, I'm very hesitant to like paint the picture of the single life because then you're like, oh yeah, sign me up for that. Join the PMDD Partners Breakup Proof Academy also. You need to join that academy because in there, all the tools that I'm giving you is going to help you to not break up. So that's part of the joy of being in the academy is because there's so many communities that if you tell them some of these things, right? So like, say if your partner's controlling, like you listen to me and you're like, I'm not controlling, it's my PMDD partners that's controlling. Okay, so if you go on some of these forums and places and you start complaining about your PMDD partner being controlling, the first thing they're gonna do is tell you, oh, you should break up with them. You don't deserve that. You deserve so much better. That's a red flag for me. You need to get your stuff and leave. Here's the thing. We have PMDD. We're already about to pack our bags anyway, but half of us have their bags packed at the door every single month. So I don't need someone to push me off the edge and like, make me feel good about breaking up. Because when I come out of PMDD and I'm back in my follicular days, I'm going to be looking for my partner. And then I'm going to be like, how the heck did I get here? How am I going to clean up this mess? So in the PMDD Partners Breakup Proof Academy, you're learning tools to stay together with your PMDD partner. And one of the first things that we teach is this your person? Asking yourself this question, is this my person? Is this the person that I'm supposed to be with? I want to be with, I am with because I love them, I care about them, I want to see a future with them. All of these things, if the answer is yes, then let's use the tools so that you can stay together. If you feel like you're on the fence, which I'm pretty sure we all do when we go into PMDD, then you need to join that academy so you can get a support system that's going to help you stay with your PMDD partner instead of help you out the door. Like I've literally seen in these forums where people are giving them tools on how to separate. And then they're talking about how, their divorce. I went through a divorce and I feel so much better now. And I'm single and I feel so much better now. But they're not telling you about how they felt when they broke up, the heartache. the kids that, the kids either that they didn't have or the kids that they had together that got broken up, the families that got broken up, the heartache, the loss of a future with this person that you at one point in your life chose for a reason. Like that's not being shown. And that's why I'm so passionate about not breaking up, because you need to see both sides of it. Like I've been there. I've been on the side of breaking up, and it's not pretty. It's not cute. It's not like you're not in Bali. You don't break up today and tomorrow you're in Bali swinging on a swing in a bikini, eating fruit by the pool. It doesn't work like that. You are going to suffer. You're going to suffer. Your family's going to suffer. Your finances are going to suffer. But that's the stuff nobody talks about. Like no one's in there telling you, all of these things that come after it. And I'm going to be real raw with you. I've done it both ways. I've used the tools and stayed. I've broken up many, 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 many times. And trust me, if I thought it was a thing, if I thought I could be happier broken up, I would just stay broken up. Because again, I told you, I love my company. I love me. So I don't really need to be with my PMDD partner. I want to be. I want to be with this person, not just a person, right? So when I say, is this your person? Not is this a person that you could be with? Is this your person? If the answer is yes to that, then you need to use the tools to stay together. Join the academy so you can have the tools, because you can't, it's for both people. It's for the people that have PMDD and the people that don't. I get so many questions. They're like, is the PMDD partners just my partner? And it's like, no, if you're in a relationship and you're navigating PMDD, then you're a PMDD partner. I don't care which one you are, whether you're suffering with PMDD or not, you're both PMDD partners. This academy is for the both of you. And it is practically a 2-for-1 deal, because one of you get the memberships. You can share the email. I'm not sitting here being super critical and like, listen, you need to get an account and join and pay. And then your partner needs to join and pay. Like, I'm not doing that. It is only $99 a month for 4 sessions and for that daily support that you have from me, daily access with me and other PMDD partners. And also it's on a half scholarship right now. So your first month is $49. If you're not joining, I don't know. Like, I know you're listening to me for a reason, because you want the tools. That's where you're going to get an in-depth amount of tools in a way that you can customize it to your relationship. There's workbooks for every single training that I have, so that you can take the notes and customize everything I'm teaching you to your PMDD partner. So that is the difference between listening here at the podcast and really going in on the academy, because you're getting it more customized. This is very general, right? And it is free. It's free. But that support that you get that's customized, there needs to be an investment to that, because you need to show yourself. You will show up. You will show up when you invest. I have a business mentor that I pay for on a monthly basis. And I invest in areas of my life that I know that if I don't keep these things under control, like I'm going to feel it, right? So I have a coach for my fitness and my nutrition. I have one for my business. I have one for career-wise. Like I have it for a lot of different areas. So I'm not telling you to do something that I don't already do myself. I need help in certain areas, and I am more than willing to invest, because I've gone through that road of trying to do everything by myself. And I end up making a lot of mistakes and doing a lot of damage with good intentions, right? You can have good intentions. I've Googled stuff, I've YouTubed it, and it's not turned out well. And I've paid for it in the long run, or I've bought cheap things like, oh my gosh, like cheap headphones, for example. I'll buy these really cheap headphones or these cheap speakers. Like I have a thing for headphones. If you see me on Instagram, I'm always wearing headphones. Like, I don't know. I think I have a problem, an addiction. Like everywhere I go, I buy different headphones. Like you'll see me at like the airport and I'm like, oh, I got these headphones, like the AirPods, like all the things. But that's just something that I do. But I get help because when I've done it on my own, I felt even more defeated about my situation when it doesn't work. So if I was going to try to do it on my own with my relationship, every single time something I would try wouldn't work, I would just automatically think, oh, well, I shouldn't be with this person. And it's like, no, You should be with this person. You just don't have the right tools. And it's not your fault that you don't. This is why I am so close to finishing my doctorate. So it's going to be in the literature, but it's not there right now. Your doctor, therapist, psychologist, counselor, all these people, they don't know about PMDD because it wasn't taught to them in their university. They weren't required to know about PMDD, and they probably don't have PMDD, right? So all I'm saying is join the academy, because it is going to give you that customized advice and tools, and it is going to be your moral compass. So where you feel like something's coming up in your relationship, go to a safe place, and that's the academy, to get the help that you need. So let's get into the tools for if you figure out, yes, I'm the one that's controlling, what can I do? What can I do so that I'm not as controlling with my PMDD partner? The first thing I want you to do, the first PMDD trauma transformational tool, is to negotiate with your PMDD partner. Negotiate with them. This is something that I didn't realize I wasn't doing because my PMDD partner wasn't necessarily saying no to things. He was kind of like giving in. And so, because he wanted to keep the peace. And a lot of PMDD partners do this. They do this because they don't want to cause you to go off on PMDD rage. So they're agreeing to things that they probably don't want to agree to, but they're doing it for the sake of still getting your love, affection, attention, validation, and also you not shutting down on them, and you keeping the peace. But I want you to learn to search for a solution that will satisfy the both of you. With my private clients, I never give tools and options that only serve one partner. I had someone, sometimes, most of the time I have, not most of the time, all the time I have these consultation calls. And the consultation call that I have before you're my private client is to make sure it's a good fit. I will let you know whether it's a good fit for you or not, right? I don't take on all of the clients that apply to work with me for a specific reason. If I don't think that I can help you because you're not there yet, then I give you another option. I still give you another option to work with me. But if you're not open to using the tools, then they're not going to work. And so what I had in this consultation was someone that just wanted me to get on their side to bash their PMDD partner and tell them how horrible of a partner they are. Literally on the consultation, verbally attacking their partner and saying, they don't do this, they don't do that, they don't do this, they don't do that, and I need them to do this. And so you're going to help me get him to do this. Absolutely not. That is not what I'm here for. I'm not here to bully your PMDD partner. I'm not here to verbally abuse them, attack them, make them feel like the bad guy. I am not going to do that. I don't advise that you do that. And I always search for ways that both of you get what it is that you want. My concern is with the both of you. You are equally my client. You are equally under my care. I am not, just because I have PMDD doesn't mean that I pick favorites. And I think that that's the misconception. And I'm glad that this came up for me, because I've been wanting to address, like, if you work with me, I do have PMDD. So I know exactly with what the partner that has PMDD, I know what they're going through. I know what they're thinking. I know what they're feeling. I know what they need. I know what they don't need. I know these things because I feel these things, whether I want to feel them or not. Okay. But I don't pick favorites. I don't give you a get out of jail free card because you have PMDD and tell you that you don't have to use the tools to better your relationship, just like your partner would have to. Equal homework, equal tools, equal treatment, equal being heard, seen, validated, all of the things. It's very equal. I am concerned with the both of you because I want you to get in that mindset of being concerned with the both of you. So I have to lead by example. And what I want for you to do is the next PMDD trauma transformational tool is to recognize manipulation. Recognize if you're manipulating your PMDD partner, which I did, guilty. I'm going to say—
I found this on the web.
Oh, that's Siri. Siri was going to help me. I I don't think that I did this on purpose. I don't know. I have to dig deeper on that one. But this is what it looks like. When you make your PMDD partner feel guilty for disagreeing with you, it's going to drive them away. Meaning, if you tell them to do something a certain way and they don't, and you shut down on them and you punish them because they didn't do it, just really be honest with yourself about your intentions and ask for it directly. You don't have to manipulate your PMDD partner into being more supportive. I'm going to repeat that. You do not have to manipulate your PMDD partner into being more supportive. You do not have to threaten them and say, if you don't do this, then we're not going to make it. If you don't do this, we're going to get a divorce. If you don't do this, we're going to break up. Either you do this or I'm out. That's manipulation. That's a fear tactic. It's not healthy. And in the situations where I've done it, it was kind of like, in a sense of like, I'm like, if this doesn't change, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't know if we're going to make it. That's a form of manipulation. So it's basically like, okay, so if I don't fix this thing about myself, then I guess we're not going to make it. Like I had said that about, of course, the snoring. I was like, if I can't get any sleep, then like, we're done because I can't stay awake for the rest of your life. So that's what it looked like for me. And for you, it could be anything. You could be saying either you learn to pick up your clothes around here, or you learn to do these dishes, you learn to take care of these kids better so that I can have some me time, or we're not going to make it. That's a form of manipulation because you're forcing your PMDD partner. And what that's going to do is going to drive them away. They're going to run far, far away. That doesn't make them want to lean in and get closer to you. So the next PMDD trauma transformational tool is to stop keeping score. Going back to the last one, if you recognize that you're manipulating your PMDD partner and you didn't know it, like me, just stop. Right? You don't have to beat yourself up. You don't have to think that you're, this horrible person. Anything that I'm telling you that you're doing, a lot of times people don't know it until someone brings it to their attention. And your PMDD partner is probably not bringing it to your attention because they don't want you to shut down, get mad at them, take away the love, affection, attention, validation. So I'm giving you examples that's going on with me. So if you see yourself in this and you notice that you're doing it, just stop. That's it. Like you're not going to get punished. Like nothing's going to happen to you. Just stop it and don't do it moving forward. Okay. So the next thing that I need you to stop doing, and the next PMDD trauma transformational tool, stop keeping score. Stop keeping a tally of who does what for how long. Okay. I was guilty of am I guilty of all of these? Wait a minute. Like, I'm like, so far so good. So yeah. So, I was guilty of this before because I was keeping score in a very weird way. So I told you in previous episodes, my PMDD partner got depression. And when I say got it, it's not like a cold, like he caught it. Like he's going through a very hard time in his life, a very weird time in his transition with being in the Marine Corps for 22 years, the United States Marine Corps, being a soldier. I'm sorry, he's not a soldier, he's a Marine. Being in that, and then now he's facing retirement, and it feels different, looks different, feels weird, all of these things. He just had the cancer scare with the tumor. There's so many things that he has going on that is causing him to have I guess this would be like a midlife crisis, right? So when I say stop keeping score, let me tell you how I was keeping score. We had these Apple Watches, right? And when we first started dating, and so pretty much our whole marriage up until a year, that I say he's a year deep in this depression, we would be burning 1,000 calories a day. Now that doesn't mean that our workouts would be 1,000 calories. It would be kind of like throughout the day, you would burn 1,000 calories. Like you would set your goal for I'm going to burn 1,000 calories. And so we both have the watch. We can see when each other burns the calories, all the things. So we used to compete with each other. So we kind of created this narrative of the comparing and the keeping score. And then for me, it just got really toxic because during the times where he wasn't feeling his best because he was deep in this depression, I'm over here, still burning my 1,000 calories a day. And I'm looking down. And 1,000 is a lot, by the way. So I am a personal trainer. Okay. So I don't want to put that expectation out there. It is a lot, but I live an active lifestyle. So that's a thing. I have many, many things that I do. That's just one of them. So that's not my full-time job, in case you were wondering. So yeah. So anyway, Yeah, so I'm looking at my Apple Watch every single time that I completed a workout, and I'm like looking at his, like, if I burn like 600 calories or whatever, and then I look and he's at like 150 because he's just laying around depressed. I'm like, oh no, like what in the world? Like, I did all this. The least he could do is this was my internal keeping score. I didn't say anything to my PMDD partner because I didn't want him to feel bad. I actually thought like maybe I'll just continue to do this and then I'll just motivate him to do it. That hasn't happened yet. Like it's been very sporadic. He's not gotten back to it. And I think it matters so much for me as far as the keeping score, because that's a way that we connected. When we were apart, we would still have our Apple Watches, and then I would see that he worked out, and then we would send sweaty selfies and be like, good job, babe. And like, that was our way of connecting. Imagine me over here still sending sweaty selfies and I'm the only one. I'm like, hello. Like, can I get a reply? Like, I remember when that shift first happened, when he went deep into depression, like I was still sending the sweaty selfies every day, and he was sending like pictures of him on the couch. And I'm like, well, that's not motivating. So I started keeping score. And then that's when the ego came in, because I was feeling like, oh, I'm doing all this. He should be doing this. Because again, it was a sense of bitterness, resentment, and keeping score, because I felt like he left me in that world by myself. Like we met and connected off of that. And then now I'm stuck here doing it by myself. Do I enjoy it? Does it help me? Absolutely. But it's a little lonely. It's like you go to the gym with someone and then all of a sudden they like ghost you. So then you end up going to the gym by yourself. And it's like, man, I don't have anybody to talk to when I sit in the sauna, or I don't have anybody to high five when I'm done. Like it was, even though he wasn't physically with me, it was very like a lonely thing. And I think that's when I got to the bottom of it, I was like, that's why I was keeping the score so much. And that's when the ego came in, because I was so lonely in that. I'm like, it just wasn't as fun as when I was doing it with him, because there was these endorphins that I would get, these like good vibes, but I was controlling that part. I'm like, he needs to do this. He needs to do this. And I was putting that expectation, even though he was deep in depression and going through something. It's almost like I couldn't see his suffering because I was so concerned with keeping score and what he should be doing and what that looks like. So for you, it could be taking care of the kids. You could be like, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I take care of them all this time, and you go to work and you don't take care of them this time. Or I'm the one that packs their lunches, or I'm the one that, like, kids is easy for you to keep score. Like it is very easy, because I know for our daughter, I'm like, I'm helping her with all the homework. What are you doing? Like that keeping score is not, and it is a rabbit hole, because you start it with one thing, then you do it another and another and another and another. It's not good. Okay, so the next PMDD trauma transformational tool is respect your PMDD partner's privacy. It may be tempting to look through your PMDD partner's phone or their social media accounts if you find it difficult to trust them. However, they deserve their privacy, and it doesn't mean that they're hiding something. Let them have their privacy. Let them have their alone time. If they have a part of the house that they like to go to, let them have it. Stop controlling where they go and what they do. Stop. Don't do that. They're grown adults. Do not tell them, oh, you need to be here. Like, for example, my PMDD partner is guilty of this. When we first started dating, he was like, well, we need to eat dinner at the table. We need to eat dinner at the table, because that's how he was raised. I was raised that way too. But as soon as I left, I was like, forget that. I'm like, I'm getting a TV tray. I don't know. I don't like sitting at the table. I don't know. That's the thing. It's weird. I like doing it when we're at restaurants, but at home, I don't. I like to watch TV everybody has a thing about that. Like they can have an opinion, but I don't watch TV. I only watch TV while I'm eating. So, or I'm actually binge watching this series Manifest. And that, like, I think I have to allow myself sometimes to like binge watch a series, but that's very short-lived. I'm normally either working all of my jobs, homeschooling, like all the things. So when I have time, TV sometimes helps me take my mind off of the pressures of my day. So I like to zone out. And it takes me about 20 minutes to eat, because I do like my dinner and then I'll do a dessert, or my lunch and a dessert. Everything has a dessert, like don't judge me. But when that process happens, then I like to watch TV. So when he's home, he likes to sit at the table. And I think for someone who's normally used to watching TV, sitting at the table seems very like boring and mundane because I like to talk. But when I talk to my PMDD partner, I like to do these things called walk and talks, where we go on a walk around the neighborhood and we go and we just talk about stuff. Like I'm a movement. I like to move. I like to move it, move it. Okay. It's a song. I'm aging myself. But anyway, that's what I like to do. So just sitting down talking, unless I'm on a client call. I'm like, when do I do it? I do that on my client calls. Maybe that's why I have the aversion of doing it with my PMDD partner, because even when I have, sessions with my PMDD partner, I have them while I'm walking and talking. Like if he's not with me, I'll have my headphones on and I'll go for a walk. I'll walk our dog Leo and I'll be on the phone talking. But you got to respect the privacy. You got to do that. Like let them live. So respect the space. My PMDD partner doesn't have like a man cave. We're swapped in that way. Like normally the man has a man cave. I feel like I have a female cave, a woman cave, a partner, whatever you want to call it. I'm trying to be politically correct here. I have a cave that I like to go to, and that is my garage, and that's where I do my morning routine. And I like to have my space there, respect my privacy. If I go in there, like one time I was in there and I was like doing my morning, I was running and he scared the living crap out of me because I was running on a treadmill with the garage door closed, and he decided to open the garage door during my workout, and the treadmill was facing the outside. And I thought because I was on a really high incline, like my treadmill goes up to like 40 incline. So I was like hiking. I thought the freaking garage door was going to chop my head off because he decided to come through there to talk to me. And I was like, what are you doing? And then when someone disturbs you in your space that you consider private, like the anxiety that you get is out of this world. I was like, what the heck are you doing? Like I was on edge. I was panicked. I was manic. I was evil. And it hurt his poor little feelings because after that, he kind of like walked away. And that's what I want to say. That's why I say it's good to respect the privacy, because if you barge in on them and they go off on you, it's kind of like, well, if you would have just gave them their space, like you kind of asked for that one. You know what I mean? Like it just because you're partners, whether you live together or not, it's not your responsibility to be loving and open all the time. Like if you need time to decompress and you just want to be alone, you don't have to just, oh, well, when I came to talk to you, you weren't being loving towards me because I wasn't feeling loving in that moment. I'm human. I have human emotions. I wasn't there. I was probably trying to get there. If you would have let me get there, then I would have came out and been that way. Like, that's what I mean. You got to respect how your PMDD partner gets their emotional regulation. It can look differently for everyone. Go for a walk, have a space somewhere, and you might want to go for a walk alone. My PMDD partner has done that before. I'm like, I'm going on a walk. And he's like, I'm going to come with you. No. Because there'll be times where I do want to go on a walk with you, but if I'm trying to cool off or I'm trying to think something through, or something, like I kind of need to do it by myself. Love you, but I have to go by myself. And that's okay. It's not a dig. I still love my PMDD partner, but sometimes I need privacy to manage the PMDD brain or whatever's going on. The next PMDD trauma transformational tool, criticizing your PMDD partner is a way of making you feel superior, like you're better than them. Don't do this. Before you say something harsh to your PMDD partner below the belt, ask yourself if it's truthful or if it's constructive, or if you're just feeling better about yourself in that way. And you're just like, oh, you should do this, but you're telling them that because you've perfected that area. Like, don't make them feel small because you're really good at something. Like my PMDD partner is great at math. I would hate it if he went around counting all the day, like and calculating things. And like, I don't even like when people say like, it's 4:45. What does that even mean? What's a quarter? Because a quarter is not 25, right? It's not 25 minutes to 5. Like, I don't know what people do with the times. And even with a lot of my private clients who are all mostly international at this point, and it's like, it's a half past this or a half before. What are you saying? Like, So right now it's where I'm recording this, it's 4:20, it's almost 4:30. So I would say it's 4:30, but then someone might say it's a 4:30 or a half past. I don't know, but it like math is not my strong point. So if someone came and was like, oh, you don't know what that means. Like if my client, if I came on the session to schedule like their next session and they'd be like, oh, Rose, you don't know what that means. I'd be like, what? Like, wow, let me clutch my pearls. Like that was rude. So if you know something better than your PMDD partner, don't throw it in their face and criticize them and make them feel small. Don't be like, I clean the kitchen every night and I always clean up after myself. And what do you do? Like, that's what it looks like. I do this. And what do you do? What did you do? Nothing. Like, that's horrible. Like, don't do that. Please. It's hurtful. It's going to cause them to get defensive. And then they're going to start talking about stuff that you've done wrong. And then you're going to end up in the rabbit hole. And then you're probably going to go off on PMDD rage. Not going to lie. Because I was like, you and you. It's not cute. The last PMDD trauma transformational tool is to make a decision to love your PMDD partner unconditionally. What this means is their behavior should not dictate your behavior towards them. I'm going to repeat that again. Their behavior should not dictate your behavior towards them. You should love them regardless. And I know that there's this mentality that's like, you're going to get the version of me that is based off of how you treat me. That's how I'm going to treat you. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, like, an ear for an ear, like all the things. That's not the way to be, because then you're being controlled by your PMDD partner. Who are you? Who are you? If you're a loving person, just be loving. That's why I use that phrase, just be loving. I'm not saying just be loving when they're loving, just be loving when they deserve it. Just be no, just be loving, and you'll keep yourself out of a lot of guilt. Just be loving. If they're acting a certain way, they're going to be convicted. They're going to feel bad. My PMDD partner does it every single time. There's been times where my PMDD partner has said or done things that's below the belt, and I could go in. I mean, I could go ham and cheese on that biscuit. I could go in and be like, oh, you said this, I have something for you. I don't use my powers for evil, right? So instead of going in, if I'm loving, my PMDD partner will come back and apologize like ASAP, because it doesn't feel good. It's like fighting in a ring and nobody's on the other side. Like you're punching a person and they're not fighting back. It feels horrible. So if they're acting some type of way towards you, and they're, and they're in that controlling mindset, or you're in that controlling mindset and they're fighting back from it, just be loving and then watch them feel bad about it and then come back and apologize. Because it doesn't feel good. It only feels good when you fight back. Like if they say something below the belt and then you say something below the belt, then you're even. Then it's like, well, they don't need to feel bad about it, because me and my PMDD partner have had that argument so many times. And I'm like, if we just wouldn't have been disrespectful, we both were disrespectful. Okay, great. Versus it being like that person being able to take it as a reflection of like, yeah, I should have been more respectful. I'm sorry about that, babe. And then when they apologize, oh, this is a bonus. And then when they apologize, do not throw it in their face. Do not be like, yeah, I know that you're bad. That sucks. You did do me wrong. Or don't, just accept their apology and move on. Like, let it go, like Frozen. Let it go. Let it go. No, I can't sing. Only in the shower. But yes, join the PMDD Partners Breakup Proof Academy. I want to offer you something, because this is something that I've been getting DMs about, emails about, all of the things. I know a lot of you listen to me on the go, while you're driving, in the shower, taking a walk, doing the dishes. You take me everywhere, and I love you for that. So you're always not in a place where you can take notes. And it's kind of like, what did she say? Or I don't really my episodes are getting more in depth. So they're like longer and longer. So if you think, man, Rose said something that I really needed to apply to my relationship, there's 2 ways that you can be able to get these tools for each episode. And I'm going to start offering this 3, 2, 1 now. And that is, you're going to be able to purchase the workbook that goes along with the podcast. if you want my notes, I am compiling them for you. They're very, professionally edited and all the things. I'm not going to send you a scratch piece of paper, but I'm going to give you the tools that you can be able to look at, because the tools that I provide here are not the same tools that I provide in the Breakup Proof Academy. So I want you to know that. So you're going to be getting a double dose. I like that. I like the way that sounds. When I finish my doctorate, it may be like a double dose of Dr. Rose. That has a good ring to it. If anybody copyrights that or takes it from me, everything said in this podcast is copyright, so you can't steal it. Okay. Anyway, so you get a different session from me in the weekly training for the academy with a workbook that is completely separate. So I'm giving you the opportunity, if it's a particular episode where you're like, I really need those tools from that, I really need the PDF, I will provide that to you on a digital format. It will be available on my website to purchase. I will be putting it in the show notes so that you can have that extra tool, because I know that this is going to help you and your PMDD partner to stop the monthly breakups and everything leading up to it, right? So if you know that you're being controlling, stop it right now. And I'm talking to myself too. I had to reel myself back in like a fishing pole. I had to reel myself back in. I'm like, reel it in, Rose. Oh, I like that. Reel it in, Rose. I'm having all of these puns lately. But yes, until next time, don't break up. Join the academy, and I will see you in the next training for the academy, and then also on the next episode. Remember, we got this. I hope this PMDD episode helped you and your partner in your struggles within your relationship. And if this is something that you know that you need help with and you need further support, individualized support, make sure you're going to inlovewithpmdd.com and you're getting those private sessions to really work through what you're going through in your relationship, specifically in regards to PMDD. And also, I want you to leave a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. What this does is it helps other PMDD sufferers and partners find this show that can help them get these free PMDD relationship tools. I remember what it felt like to not know that there were tools out there specifically for PMDD relationships. So I want to make sure that you are sharing these tools with others, share them on your social media, share them with people that you know that are also struggling in their PMDD relationships. Until next episode, this is Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist. One more thing, I almost forgot. I now have the Fresh Start PMDD Partners Workbook. What this workbook can do is, if you've had past traumatic experiences with your partner, past fights, past arguments, and they keep coming up every single month in PMDD, I created a Fresh Start workbook so that you can deal with all of the traumatic experiences that have happened in the past in PMDD rage and all of these things, so you can stop going through the same cycle again and again and again. So get that workbook. It comes with a video episode of the actual podcast that I recorded on getting a fresh start in your PMDD relationship, so you're not continuing the same cycle again and again and again. So make sure that you get that workbook. And if you need those individualized counseling sessions, you know where to go, inlovewithpmdd.com. Until next time, we got this. Love you.